The date was July 5th, 2015. It looked like an ordinary day on the surface, but beneath the quiet calm, a digital war was being waged, and the battlefield was everywhere. This is the story of a single, impossible heist that tore open the secretive world of government surveillance. This is the backbone of any great cybercrime documentary. An Ethiopian journalist in Virginia picks up a call, his source is dead. 3 hours later, a Saudi women's rights activist vanishes from her London apartment. In Mexico, a cartel lawyer's children received chilling photos of him, taken inside his own home. They didn't know it, but they were all connected by the same nightmare. They were targets, and at that exact moment, their hunters were being hunted. Someone, somewhere, was uploading 400 gigabytes of stolen files from a company called Hacking Team, the company that sold those digital weapons. The hacker was still inside their servers, watching the CEO frantically call the police through the company's own hidden microphones. One person had just exposed how governments murder and silence dissidents with malware, and every dictator who bought it. The world wanted to know who pulled this off, and what did they find worth dying for. Our story, like so many great internet mysteries, starts with a simple search. 4 months before the leak, a hacker known only as Phineas Fischer typed a specific Google query: Hacking Team Network Diagram. He was hunting for a crucial mistake. Instead, he found something better: a LinkedIn profile listing specific hardware models. One device caught his attention immediately: an older SonicWall VPN appliance running 4 full years of unpatched vulnerabilities. This was his open door. Fischer spent 3 weeks in a clean room, an isolated environment where he could safely test his exploits. He bought an identical device on eBay for €89, shipped to a rented mailbox in Germany, and discovered the fatal flaw: the device accepted firmware updates without properly verifying signatures. He wrote 1,847 lines of custom backdoor code, compiling it into fake firmware. His modified version maintained all normal functions while secretly opening a remote access port. It was the perfect, invisible digital ghost. On April 12, 2015, the attack executed. Hacking Team's VPN appliance downloaded the poisoned firmware and rebooted, and for 17 seconds, the company was completely offline. When it returned, it was infected. Fischer now controlled the critical gateway between Hacking Team's internal network and the outside world. Through this entry point, he mapped their entire infrastructure. He discovered employee passwords stored in plain text files. We're talking simple passwords like P4, SS Sword, and Wolverine Universo. It's an unbelievable security failure for a company selling weapons to intelligence agencies. The internal network revealed the institutional paranoia of a cyber weapons dealer. Every server had a shadow copy, and every developer workstation streamed screen recordings to a central archive. They were so busy spying on the world, they were effectively spying on themselves. But their defensive measures had a fatal flaw. The backup system used a protocol without encryption. Fischer created a tunnel and suddenly gained remote access to every single backup Hacking Team ever made. This included a virtual machine of their Microsoft Exchange email server containing 6 years of correspondence. He gained the ultimate access, the domain administrator password. This unlocked every door in the company. He started impersonating CEO David Vincenzetti, accessing emails that were supposed to auto-delete after 30 days. The customer list read like a global cybercrime documentary client list: Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia. One entry stopped him cold: Sudan, marked active despite UN sanctions. The invoice trail showed they routed payments through a shell company in Panama, a textbook example of financial crime blended with digital oppression. The targeting data was chilling. Sudan bought licenses for 500 targets, Morocco for 600, Ethiopia for 1,000. Fischer ran a script against nearly 700,000 messages, searching keywords like journalist, activist, opposition, and human rights. It returned almost 9,000 results. One email chain showed engineers helping Ethiopian intelligence infect a journalist in Virginia. Another detailed 37 emails about targeting Bahraini protesters. This wasn't just corporate espionage. This was actively aiding and abetting global digital crime. Then he found the nuclear football. Buried in the source code repository was their collection of zero-day exploits, vulnerabilities unknown to software makers. The crown jewel was an Adobe Flash exploit that worked on every version and operating system. This single piece of code could infect any of the 1.5 billion computers running Flash. Hacking Team had been using it for 3 years, while Adobe was completely oblivious. Fischer copied the exploit, knowing that releasing it would burn a weapon worth millions, but forced the world's largest software company to patch within hours. He had a tough decision to make: act now or wait for the Russian FSB colonel's €2.4 million spyware deal to close. Fischer chose Sunday night for maximum chaos. At 11:31 p.m. on July 5, 2015, the torrent file went live. 8 minutes later, he logged into Hacking Team's Twitter account using stolen credentials and typed the message that would destroy them. The first retweet came from WikiLeaks 12 minutes later, then Edward Snowden. Within an hour, 400,000 people had seen the tweet. The torrent swarm quickly exploded to 8,000 peers, ensuring the data was spread faster than any legal takedown could travel. By the time CEO David Vincenzetti was meeting with police in Milan on Monday morning, the documents detailing his exports and his poor password hygiene were public. The most damaging revelations surfaced within 4 hours. Security researcher Chris Balakrishnan discovered the Adobe Flash Zero-Day. He tweeted a proof-of-concept code, and within minutes, criminal hackers were weaponizing it. Ransomware gangs incorporated the vulnerability by midnight. This shows us exactly how quickly cybercrime adapts. Adobe's security team, on holiday for the July 4th weekend, received emergency calls. They pushed an unscheduled patch to 1.5 billion computers within 36 hours. This was the fastest response in company history. Fischer had accidentally become one of history's most effective cybercrime fighters. The Italian government suspended Hacking Team's export license within 72 hours, crippling 90% of their revenue. Morocco shut down a 2-year investigation, and Mexico's Attorney General dropped charges against 14 cartel members after their phones showed traces of the spyware. The leak didn't just expose internet mysteries, it dispensed real-world justice. The company was finished. The CEO, who built a company on violating privacy, had his most private moment of defeat captured by his own tools. The company attempted a rebrand as Momento Labs in 2016, but the effort quickly failed. But the leak exposed something deeper, an encrypted folder labeled insurance. Inside, specs for a tool called Warrior Pride spyware that exceeded Hacking Team's arsenal, capable of air-gap jumping via ultrasonic frequencies. Hacking Team was just a medium-sized player in a $12 billion annual market. 6 months after the leak, 8,000 Hacking Team infections, what researchers called orphan implants, remained active. Spyware without a master. Their tools became commodities in a digital black market. This is the persistent threat of cybercrime. Phineas Fischer then published a 16,000-word technical guide explaining exactly how he hacked Hacking Team. The message was explicit. Anyone with intermediate programming skills can topple a surveillance company. The guide became required reading at MIT and Stanford. So, what are the key takeaways from this chilling cybercrime documentary? What did the world, and what can you, learn about cybersecurity and digital crime prevention? First, the basics still matter. Hacking Team was crippled by simple, inexcusable security failures, unpatched software, and reused weak passwords. If a multi-million euro company selling digital weapons can be brought down by that, imagine the vulnerability of your personal accounts. Second, remember the power of patching. Fischer's forced patch prevented hundreds of thousands of infections monthly. As a defense measure, never postpone a software update, as patches are often fixes for attacks already being used in the wild. Third, the financial element. Criminal groups rely on sophisticated phishing attacks and dark web scams to steal credentials and financial data. Always verify invoices, look for secure, encrypted connections, and never reuse passwords for your bank accounts or critical business infrastructure. The empire of surveillance struck back by becoming a hydra, but every activist using Signal, every journalist with a burner phone, every citizen who tapes over their webcam is responding to what Phineas Fischer revealed that July night. He proved one person could humble an empire, and the defense against cybercrime starts with you.